Hello, I'm Victor Gastou. I'm the owner of the collection of rings. We collected the collection in a very sentimental way. Every pieces that are selected for the collection, there is authenticity, there is a little pun, there is something that catch the eye of my father or myself. So it was quite difficult to find some theme inside the collection because it was not made on this purpose. But when we see all the collection, we start to see some new theme. You know, the collection is an excuse for the craziness of the accumulation. So at a moment you say, but you can't have so many rings, it's not natural and so on. And you say, but it's a collection. And now everything changed and it makes sense. So when we start to have, I think, around 200 rings, it becomes a collection. And after, when you see it on other way, the collection open also some other doors, and you see it really a different way. At the beginning, it was more like a hobby or a passion, and after, when it become a collection, you really go inside the stuff, and you want to know more about the history, the craftsman of the ring, or the know-how, or who made it, and you want to also exchange your idea with some other collectors. The first theme, a little bit, is a classic theme. That's cameo and intaglio rings that have been a little bit more older, like antiquity ring or 18th, 16th century. This is what we said classic because it's like a classic sculpture. When you go to school and you have to study sculpture, you have to learn the base before going to the modern art, which is more complicated. So this is the base of a collector. You start with the things that you know better, which are from your culture, and after you can go a little bit more wild and extravagant to your personality. So that's the first theme. One of the other theme is the Gothic rings. It was a pleasure for Yves to shock a little bit the audience and to present some rings a little bit more provocative in their way. And in the Gothic theme you can find a lot of demon, of things a little bit harsh and a little bit more aggressive, and it's very interesting. There is also the inspiration of, for example, the Dracula, who was a very important movie for his generation, and also the romanticism inside the Gothic. There is a gargoyle, all this kind of stuff, which is quite funny to collect. We have also the vanitas, that we are represented by skulls. Here it's a more rock and roll attitude, or a rebel, a kind of outcast. There is the skull represented very well. It's also remember that life is short and you have to enjoy it every day. And the last theme is eclecticism, so it's kind of curiosity rings. So here there is a little bit of everything. There is rings which are like a souvenir of a trip. If he went to Mexico, he bought some Mexican rings. If you go to Thailand, you buy some Thailand rings, India, and American rings. So this is all we have. And the last but not least of the theme are the religious rings, which are very baroque and important. Here it's a ring of power with a big stone and big diamond. It was bishop ring, and people wanted to show how important and powerful they were. My father started the collection 40 years ago, some stuff like that, and it was a real passion to buy rings, and a day without buying a ring was not a good day. So there is like an history in the buying, and you can almost follow the life of my father through the rings that he bought. And at the beginning, I was not so much in the rings, but little by little, I had the passion and the fire start to grow in myself. And we had a small competition with my father, which was quite funny, to say who is going to find the better ring. The book stopped a little bit the collection because at the beginning we said, oh, it's a little bit a pity that we don't, because she would not be in the book. And after that, we went through this obstacle, and I start to buy again rings. But there is two parts in our collection. There is the ring from the book, and after that there is the other rings. It's very personal. An object corresponds to the personality of a people. So when you find your rings, it's your rings. You have a story with it. You bought it by yourself, and it's like falling in love for an object. So it's very, very personal. I will never wear, for example, the ring of my father. It's not my style. They are not my ring. But I've got my own ring. I'm at home, a box of 20 rings, and every morning I pick up the one that I want to wear, and it's a pleasure to choose them. Rings is a very mystic object, full of meanings. There is the notion of engagement, there is the link between, the infinity of the loop, the circle. It's an object with a really, really big story. For example, it was the first jewel made by humanity. Before having the perception of themselves, the first men used to make some decorative stuff on their hand because they had the perception of the hand before of themselves. So that's the first jewel that was made by humanity. And there is a diversity in the ring which is very, very amazing. There is some ring for the power, like the episcopal ring for the French, for the church. There is a ring to fight for defense. There is rings for ornamentation. And after, I think also that rings are very, very more sensual than a necklace or a brooch. It's something very personal, and you see how you touch the ring and you like them like that, and you don't have this kind of perception in the other jewels that you said. The luck made us encounter the École of Van Cleef & Arpels, and for us it was a huge opportunity because there is nothing as sad as beautiful objects which are closed into a box or safe. They are made to be worn, they are made to be shown, and l'École gives us the opportunity to present in a beautiful way our collection in Paris, in Tokyo and Hong Kong, so it was such a great pleasure. It was also very, very impressive for us the first time that we saw, because there was 600 rings in Paris, all the rings in the same room together, perfectly well presented. We never had the opportunity to see our collection in such a way. And so it was amazing to see all the pieces perfectly presented. It was a great, great moment, and we are very, very thankful for l'École and to give us the opportunity to present that like that.